So the track Jeep was so much fun that we got to put the tires back on it. If you're wondering why, it is because my steering pump was not happy. As you can see, there's oil all over everywhere. Luckily, I've got plenty of super clean I can wash that off with. See what I did there? But the problem is with a tire, you have this one point on the ground right here that's swiveling back and forth. With the tracks, you have 4 feet on the ground at 16, 18 inches wide, whatever it is, that you're trying to slide back and forth and all that. The steering setup did not like that. So I ordered a heavy duty 1-ton front steering, tie rods and drag link and all that, tie rod ends, everything with the drill at the knuckles and all that. And then I also ordered a hydraulic assist kit that will put a hydraulic ram right down here that pushes on the tie rod and pulls on it. So only half the steering force will be taken by the steering box. The other half will be right down here directly to the tie rod ends. You're still going to have to be moving to turn. You can't just sit there and turn back and forth sitting still with tracks. That's just not going to happen. But with this setup, if I was doing like 10, 15 miles an hour, it was just like driving down the road just fine. Any less than that, and it was a nightmare to turn, and my power steering pump was screaming and blew fluid out the top. I think it boiled fluid, overheated. Not good. But trying to turn around on the trail was about impossible. It made like a 50-point turn to try to do it. Power steering pump smoking. So hopefully I didn't fry the pump completely. We're going to find that out here in a minute when we get the other 2 tires on. Definitely blew a bunch of fluid all over, so I'll have to top that back off. I'm getting the tires back on because I know I'm going to have a bunch of recoveries to do this weekend, and I want this thing to be able to go out and do them. The snow's not deep enough yet to need the tracks, so anywhere I got to go and get someone, I'll be just fine on the tires as long as this steering pump still works. And for those of you so worried about me dropping a Jeep on my foot again, check it out. Jack stand and a proper jack extension. No more wood blocks. But the jack stand, if you notice, is not tight to the axle like it should be. And that's because it can't be. So the proper way to change a normal tire is you would jack it up till this tire's off the ground, set it on the jack stand, pull the tire off, put another tire on, do all your tighten up stuff, jack it up off the jack stand, remove the jack stand, set it on the ground. Not possible with tracks. There is no way in hell you're lifting that track at all to get it on that hub. Not gonna happen. So with the tracks, you jack the Jeep up, you roll this furniture moving dolly underneath the track and set the track down lightly on it with the jack. You can't set it all the way down to the jack stand, just whatever clearance is in there is what's in there. It's kind of just a backup safety at this point. I got like an inch of clearance, is what it is. So once you get all your lug nuts off, you simply grab the track and you just pull it right off. Same reverse for putting it on. You just get it lined up at the right height, lined up with the lugs, slide it on, put your lug nuts on. There is no way you're ever going to lift that track and position it to get those on. You have to do something like this. Now if you get it up here and you're not lined up rotation wise, you can either spin the hub or take the track and just try to roll it on the pad, and that turns this here until you're lined up and it goes right on. But for now, we'll just pull this off, push it over there out of the way, and now we can come and set this down on the jack stand so that everybody's happy. Okay, now to answer a few questions you guys had about the tracks. One is, yes, they absolutely can rotate all the way around and hit the body. There's nothing that stops them from pivoting this way. So they've got a ton of articulation, but as you can see, that is my clearance point right there on the front when the front end kicks up over something. So that's something to be very mindful of. I might have to trim this down so I don't slice a track if I hit it, because that would be very bad. The other thing is brakes. Everyone's worried about brakes with all this rotating mass. And yes, this is a huge, heavy assembly, but there's not much rotating mass. There's actually far less rotating mass than with those tires and that rim. On top of that, this drive wheel is your new tire size. So this wheel is 17 inches across. Those tires are 34 inches across, or height, or however you want to look at it. What that means is every time that tire goes around once, this tire would go around twice. It's basically the same effect of always being in 4 low. Same thing for your brakes. It doubles your braking power because it's trying to stop a much smaller wheel. That tire has far more leverage on the brakes than this does. The brakes have a huge advantage with this. So, and also you have way more traction no matter what type of surface you're on, pavement, concrete, snow, dirt, anything, than you do with that tire. So brake wise, amazing brakes with this setup. That's also why 35 miles an hour is as fast as I could go. This assembly is rated for 50 miles an hour down paved road. This is actually all snowmobile components. These are snowmobile idler bearings, snowmobile tracks, and snowmobiles are doing 100, 120 across the snow. This setup can handle the speed. This assembly altogether is rated at 50 miles an hour down the road. There is no way this will ever go that fast with these on here. This is the limiting factor, not the tracks. At 35 miles an hour, like I said, it's like you're always in 4 low. So we're at a 2-to-1 ratio between the tires and the tracks. Even in 4 high, this is spinning around twice to go as far as that would just spinning around once. So when I was doing, I got 36 miles an hour was actually the fastest I got to when I went down the pavement there. And when I was doing that 35, 36 miles an hour, my speedometer was showing right around 70. My speedometer is correct with those 34-inch tires on it, so that's just about right. The Jeep thought we were doing 70 miles an hour, but we're really only doing 35, which 35 feels fairly fast on these. It gets fast enough that it actually smoothed out and got quiet and very, very smooth. And that's the point where, you know, probably shouldn't go much faster, even though these are rated for it. All right, here's the moment of truth. That jack extension lets me lift it high enough to take the tracks on and off with that furniture moving dolly underneath. But the height difference between these tracks and the tires is insane. So now will it let me go low enough to get the tires on the ground and get the jack out without having to stick it on the block. So, moment of truth. Okay. Yes, just barely, but it fits. Perfect. Now I know I said I was going to put the tracks on the Willys, but after driving that Jeep with the tracks on it, and knowing that the Willys is fully locked front and rear, I realized there's no way I'd ever be able to turn that Willys with the tracks on it. So it's plenty capable as it is with the tires on it. So I think it's going to keep the tires. This is going to be the tracked rig. That's going to be the heavier duty off-road recovery rig. And then that truck can pull this trailer with either the Willys on tires or the Cherokee on tracks. And I can get them both out to any scene I need to all by myself, which would be really handy because usually all by myself. So I'm going to get these tires topped off on air, give this thing a good checking over, test out that steering. Hopefully it still works. But for now, we got to get this oil cleaned off. A bunch of it in there. Oh, sorry. Did I get out of frame with the camera? I totally wasn't meaning to put that right in the shot there. So get this sprayed down pretty good. Get it off the exhaust down there where it was. Rinse it off with the hose and go try out the steering. Oh yeah, she's happy now. No problem. And now that we got the tires back on the Jeep, it's time for the important part. We get to pick our super clean winner. So Riley is coming over to pick the winner. That's good. Would you like to pick a winner? Okay. Okay, Rye. Are you ready to pick a winner? All right. So there's all these names. You get to scroll up and down all you want, and you pick one. Do lots of scrolling. Lots of scrolling. Now go up and now go down. And then you this one. This one? That is Rich Freedom. You get to email me at cascadeheavyrescue@gmail.com and you win some super clean.
Again.
No, we only get to do it once. That's the whole point. Say congratulations.
Congratulations.
And say super clean is super awesome.
Super clean is so much awesome.
All right.
You say, see you later, alligator, and you follow.
Okay, I'll follow you. Did you forget to turn it on? All right, now that we got the contest done and did some cruising around our little tractors, we're back in the shop. We've got the Willys in the shop now, or the Monster Jeep, as Riley calls it. And if you notice, the Monster Jeep does have a Warren winch on it, and that was not on there when I bought it. I actually put a Warren winch on one of my rigs. I know it's crazy, but I did. I still prefer my Harbor Freight ones, but this is the Warren power plant. It's a winch and an air compressor. See, here's the air outlet here, and this is not going to stay on this Jeep. This is going to get taken off and a Harbor Freight winch put back on. This winch is going to go on that Dodge truck when I build it into the wrecker bed, because that truck is the one that's going to get the tires aired down and aired up over and over and over again, so having an onboard compressor is going to be very handy. This Jeep here, that's not the case. Its tires are at like 8-10 pounds right now, and that's just where they stay. They never get aired up and down, so it doesn't really need a compressor. So that winch, it's just on there for now because I needed to get one on it. So on the back of the Jeep here, we've got this Quadratec winch. I bought this when these first came out like 8 years ago. This is one of the very first ones. It has never given me a single problem other than it draws a ton of power. There is a massive noticeable difference in power draw between that and like the Badlands Harbor Freight winches. So it works great, has a ton of cable on it, never given me even the slightest issue, except you really got to watch your voltage gauge while you're running it, because it will drain it down and kill the vehicle very easily. And I also mounted these two ammo cans on here. This one holds all the shackles and snatch blocks and chains and all that. This one holds all the soft recovery gear, axle straps and that type of thing. Both the winches on this rig are steel cable. I want to switch them out to synthetic, so I need to do that eventually. But for now, I own two winches that have steel cable. It makes sense to put them both on the same rig, so this one has all the steel recovery gear and the other ones have all the soft shackles and soft stuff. So that's all on there, good to go. Got a gas can mounted on the back. Got a quick connect plug right here to plug in whatever winch goes in the back of this thing. Got the custom top on. Got a new heater it has a heater, but a new one that's going to go in it, a more powerful one is going in here pretty quick. And other than that, I think this thing is ready to roll. Actually, right now it is. I could fire it up and go do recoveries with it. So that was the whole point of buying this one, is it's start it and go, other than my extras that I want to add in. Right? If your mama sees you climbing ladders in the shop, we're both going to be in trouble.
No.
Well, then I'm going to be in trouble.
No.
Are you going to be in trouble?
No.
Okay. Are you coming down?
Everybody's not gonna be in trouble.
Everybody's not going to be in trouble? Okay, good. All right, we got the Willys wrapped up. It's ready to go. The Cherokee is ready to go on tires. All the steering stuff is ordered and on the way. So the next big project, aside from all the steering on the Cherokee, is we're going to finally get to that Dodge and building it into an off-road wrecker truck, which I'm super excited about and super want to do. So stay tuned for that. That is coming. But for now, that's going to be it for this video. We're going to call that a day as far as work goes, unless something fun comes in on the phone. Then we'll go out and do that. But for now, it's going to be it for this one. Thanks for watching. We'll see you guys later.